Hey everybody, welcome to week 2. So today's theme is back pain relief, which I think all of us kind of suffer from. As you notice, I have a friend today. This is Shanti, so she's just going to kind of be doing her thing. Hopefully she will lay down in a moment, but yeah, so just ignore her. We are going to get started in a corpse pose or just laying supine down on our backs. Make sure that you have your 2 tennis balls and foam roller with you. And then once you arrive here, just allow your body to be absolutely heavy. Maybe even close your eyes. And you can allow your arms to rest wherever it feels most comfortable. We're just going to take a moment and just notice how the body feels as you arrive on your mat today. Where do you feel tension in your body? Where are you holding tension? And just notice, don't hold any expectations or attachments to these observations that you're making. And then now bringing our hands to our belly. So find where our belly button is. Place one hand on top of the other. And breathing in into our belly, pushing the belly up into the hands. And then as you breathe out of the nose, pull the belly button away from the hands. And then we'll just keep going again. So inhale, pushing the belly into the hands. And exhale as you pull the belly away from the hands. And we're going to take about 10 more breaths here. So really just allow yourself to relax. We want to regulate the nervous system here, so getting into that parasympathetic and out of the fight or flight. As we do that, it's going to allow the fascia around our muscles and in the muscles to also relax because they are a sensory organ. So once we can get that to happen, it's going to be easier for us to get into those places with the foam roller and the tennis balls today. And we'll take about 5 more breaths here. One last breath. Okay. So even though we are doing back pain relief, we are going to do just a little bit in our lower body to help with lower back pain. So we're going to grab one tennis ball, bending our legs here, and we're going to find our hip bone. So this is like the top of our humerus right here. And once you find that bone right in there, you're going to go behind the bone into the fleshy part of the glute, tucking that tennis ball in there. Okay, now once we get here, let's take a big breath in. And then as we exhale, we're just going to allow the knees to go off to the side, over to the right. So you're leaning the weight into that tennis ball. Now, if you notice you're kind of feeling maybe like an electrical feeling or like a sharp type of feeling, move the tennis ball back a little bit away from that joint here and find more of a fleshy part. And then just return back to that state of rest and relaxation, closing the eyes, breathing into the belly, pushing the belly up to the ceiling, or you're resting your hands on your belly if that feels good. And then a slow, gentle exhale, pulling the belly button back down towards the spine. This can be a really spicy area. We hold a lot of emotion in our hips. So as we're doing this, unlock the jaw. So make sure the jaw isn't tensing. Keep the jaw nice and soft. And taking one more breath here. And then as you exhale, just gently pull those knees away from the tennis ball. Remove the tennis ball. And then we're going to go right over to the other side. Not with the tennis ball yet, though. So take the knees over to the left. And then just notice what that right glute feels like. Maybe it feels like there's a little more space there. And then bring the knees back to the center. Time to go over to the left side. So taking that tennis ball, use the hand first, right? So feel around for the top of that humerus here. Find that joint. And then take the tennis ball behind it. So we're like in the glute, in the tissue, stay off of the bone. Once you feel like you're in the right place, then start to take the knees over to the left, leaning the weight into that tennis ball there. Maybe closing the eyes again, unclenching the jaw. And this side is really tender for me, so I'm going to just pull my knees towards the center a little bit more, releasing some weight out of that ball. Taking one more breath in. And then exhale the knees to the center, releasing the tennis ball, and then knees go over to the right, so then we can feel that space that we created in that left side of our glute here. And bring the knees back up to the center. Let the legs go out long. Reach the arms up above the head. Clasp onto your elbows. I'm going to move that. And then take the feet to the bottom left corner of your mat. And then take the torso, turn it to the top left corner. Now once you arrive, maybe you cross that right leg over the left here. So getting into a little bit of a side bend, opening up the rib cage. And then full inhales and exhales once more. And finding another breath in here. And then exhale, uncrossing the legs, releasing the arms, switching the grip on the elbows, and we'll go over to the other side. So feet to the bottom right corner. Maybe you cross that left leg over the right. Torso goes to the top right corner. And then just notice the stretch in the left side of the body. Taking one more big breath in. And then as we breathe out, bringing the body back to the center, uncrossing the legs, releasing the elbows, draw the knees into the chest here, giving yourself a hug. Now maybe this feels perfect to you, or maybe you want to rock side to side and just notice what that back feels like as we add this movement. Now you can stay with this movement or grab the knees and then just start drawing circles with the knees, and then that way it adds the sacrum into the mix. If you took the circles, go ahead and change direction. And pausing that movement. Now from here you can rock yourself up into a seat, or you can just roll yourself over onto one side and sit yourself up. So we're just going to come into an easy seat here. Maybe it's the crisscross applesauce. Maybe you're sitting on your knees. And we're going to do a couple of cat-cows. So bringing the hands to the knees. Let's inhale, lift the heart, arch the back, gaze goes up to the sky. And then exhale, round the back towards the back of the room, tucking the chin. And then just keep going here. So inhale as we lift and lengthen the front of the body, and exhale as we push the back, tucking the chin. Let's do 5 more here. Here's our second round. And if you need to pause in this cat position with the back rounded, you can. That can feel really good for that thoracic spine, so the space between the shoulder blades here. 2 more rounds. And here's our last one. And inhaling, lifting ourselves back up. So grabbing both of our tennis balls for this next bit, having our foam roller nearby, just in case maybe we decide that the tennis balls are getting a little too deep into our tissues. So we are going to take the tennis balls and place them at the top of our hamstrings, so like right underneath your butt cheek. So one on the right side, one on the left. And I have a new tattoo, so I'm gonna use the foam roller. Okay, so once you get it in place, we're gonna fold forwards towards our legs, but we want to start with a nice tall spine first. So we're sitting up nice and tall, and then inhale, maybe your hands to your hips or reach the arms up to the sky, nice long spine, and then exhale, start to hinge from the hips and fold forwards, allowing the body to stop when it wants to. It is a myth that you have to be perfectly straight in this pose or perfectly folded down. So if you want to bend the legs here, you can. If the spine rounds here, it's okay. And as we inhale, just focus on sending the breath into the back of the rib cage and feel the ribs expand, and the muscles in between the ribs are stretching out, those intercostal muscles. And we're going to take about 5 breaths here, so it's going to be kind of a longer hold, but allow gravity to be your friend. So every exhale, maybe you allow the heart to melt a little bit closer to the legs. And one final inhale here. As we exhale, you can use your hands to help walk yourself up. If you are on the tennis balls, remove the tennis balls and grab your foam roller. We are going to come back down onto our backs. Now the foam roller is going to be right underneath the sacrum here, so that flat bone in our lower back. We're going to prop our hips up on it. And then from here, let's just reach the legs up to the sky. And then just notice what that low back feels like. You can take your hands to the foam roller here if you feel like you need to secure it or hold on to something, or the arms can splay out to the side. Now maybe this is enough for you, or maybe you want to add a little motion. So if you would like to move, bend the legs. And then we're just going to rock over to the left and rock over to the right. Now typically you don't foam roll or use a tennis ball right on a bone. However, since this bone is a flat bone, it has a bigger surface area, and since we're using the foam roller that has a bigger surface area, it's more gentle. And it's not going to feel very piercing or painful. So we're still able to get the superficial fascial layer that's right underneath the skin, and we can loosen that up. We'll take a couple more rocks if you're rocking, or a couple more breaths if you're holding still. And this pose can also help increase circulation, blood circulation, right? So if you're up with the legs up the wall, this is a really good one. If you had a hard training day or went running or did a lot of walking, especially if the ankles tend to get kind of swollen, this is a good one to do. And also right before bed, helps with sleep, decreases stress hormones. All right, let's pause that movement. So from here, we're going to go into supported bridge, planting the feet onto the ground. If this is enough for you, then you can stay exactly like this. If you want a little more, if you want to open these hip flexors here and get a little bit into like the psoas, which can be very tricky, straighten the legs so that the heels are down on the ground. Resting here, or if you want another option, reach the arms up above the head and clasp onto your elbows. And then send that breath into the rib cage here. We'll take a couple of breaths. And some of you are probably anxiously waiting and looking at your screen, right? That's okay. But in these moments of pause, just allow yourself to pause and know that it's okay to pause. You'll hear my voice when it's time to move on to something else. So we're really giving our body an opportunity to just surrender to gravity here and to relax. The mind will want to pull you in different directions. So every inhale, imagine that inhale like a vacuum. And you're drawing that mind back to the body and back to this present moment. Let's just go ahead and take one more breath here then. Bending the legs, planting the feet into the ground. Push through the heels, lift the hips. Remove the foam roller, set it off to the side for just a moment, and we're just going to take some windshield wipers here with the legs side to side and just notice what the body feels like as we're doing this movement. Pausing the movement, grabbing our foam roller. We are going to roll onto our right side here. We're going to use the foam roller as a pillow and grab a tennis ball. So my foam roller is going to be right above my right shoulder. I'm going to rest the side of my neck on it. All right, so from here, we're going to get into the infraspinatus muscle or infraspinatus area, which is close to the rotator cuff. So this can cause us quite a bit of pain. It can feel a little spicy. So just listen to your body and I'll show you different ways that you can lessen the intensity. We're going to take our right arm out to the side, tennis ball in the left hand. We're going to lean back, reach the right arm up to the sky, take the tennis ball and place it right, kind of find that shoulder blade area right around that shoulder blade. And really you can just tuck it in wherever it feels best to you. And then allow that right arm to lower back down. So some of us might get it a little more in the armpit. If it's more in the armpit, like if it's creeping into this area here, then push it back a little bit more closer towards the posterior side of your body. So closer towards the back of your body. Okay, so once you feel that spot, it'll feel a little tender. And just pause there, holding here without any movement. And as you take those full breaths in and complete exhales, just notice the cues that you're getting from your body. So is this a place where you can really kind of melt into the pressure of the tennis ball, where you can relax and breathe fully? Or is it a place where your breath is starting to be really quick? You're tensing in places. If you want to lessen the intensity, you're just going to draw this left shoulder back and pull your weight back. So you're leaning back a little bit. Now, if you feel like you could use more intensity, you're going to draw this left shoulder forwards, almost like you're pulling it forwards and stacking it on top of the right, and you're just going to stop when you feel like you have found the right amount of intensity for you. Now you can rest in stillness, or you can add a little motion. So we're going to add a little windshield wiper motion, bending that right arm, and then drawing it back and forwards. Back and forward. So any overhead athletes like baseball players, some volleyball players, this is going to be really beneficial to help keep your tissues nice and resilient, to help support that mobility in the shoulder. If you're doing that movement, let's go ahead and take 2 more. And then releasing that arm. Lean the weight back, grab the tennis ball with that left hand and remove it, and then we'll switch sides. So over to that left. Using that foam roller as your little prop. That left arm goes out to the side, tennis ball in the right hand. Lean back, lift that left arm up, tuck that tennis ball in. Try not to get it in the armpit here. It's almost like, think about like kind of right behind the armpit area. And once you feel it, you'll know. You'll feel like, oop, I haven't quite got, there we go. Okay. Once you feel like it's in the spot where you can hold it, now you can move it around if you need to. Find stillness. Just notice if it's different on one side. This side is different for me. Okay, now do you want more intensity or less intensity? Less intensity, you're leaning back. More intensity, you're leaning forward. So make your choice here. How would you like to express this? And then once you have found a spot where you can settle in, if you want to do that windshield wiper movement, you'll bend that left arm and you'll go back and you'll go forwards. And you'll notice that in one side you might have more motion, more range of motion than the other side, which is okay. We're not holding judgments. We're not holding expectations. We are just loving and working with our body where it is today and how it shows up today. We'll take about 4 more breaths here. Stilling that left arm. Reaching with that right hand, removing that tennis ball. We'll set it off to the side for now. For this next part, we're just going to work with our foam roller. So we're going to just roll ourselves right onto our back. So we are looking for the suboccipital area. So kind of feel like the base of the skull. We're going to take our foam roller and we're going to scoot it in. Now for most of us, right, as soon as we like lay down on it, it should be resting right at the bottom of the skull there. Now if you need to kind of pull it away a little bit, you can. So I just pulled it away. So now the foam roller is not touching my lower neck. It's just touching the base of my skull. So if you need to, you can do that. Legs can be bent or they can be straight. Now if you really want to add a little extra stretch to the lower body, you can come into a butterfly position. So knees out to the side, bottoms of the feet together if that feels comfortable for you. I'm going to rest like this. So close your eyes here for just a moment, hands rest on the belly, and just notice what it feels like to have the foam roller there. So getting used to the presence of the foam roller in this area. Notice what the neck feels like. Carry a lot of trigger points here. So as we're taking this next movement, it might feel like there are some Rice Krispies back there. Don't be alarmed. It's okay. If it hurts, however, if there's pain, always stop if there's pain. So just tilting the head, well, turning the head, not tilting. So just taking our gaze over to the left and then gently taking our gaze over to the right. So we want to think about slow, gentle movements, nothing fast. And each movement is very intentional and very deliberate. So every time the head moves and the tissues are moving, your body is taking in this information. And you want to listen to the information that your body is giving you. Now, if you turn to the left and you feel like there's a spot that you can rest and pause, rest there. So if your body says this is an okay spot, we're feeling sensation, but we can breathe through it and stay calm, stay here. If your body's saying no, then pull back a little bit and see if you can find a different spot. We'll take a couple breaths here with our gaze still to the left. One more breath in. And then exhale, start to take the gaze over to the other side. And as you're moving over to the right side, so you're listening to the cues of your body, when can you pause and just keep that sustained pressure without the movement, holding. One more breath in. And as we exhale, carefully bring the head back to the center. All right, let's go ahead and remove our foam roller. And we're going to do a little bit of, so we did this in our first video, in our first week. We did some spinal extension and flexion. So we're just going to do a little bit of it here, taking the foam roller right below the shoulder blades. So the inferior angle, I think it's called. So the bottom of the shoulder blades here, you'll feel the shoulder blades kind of dig in a little bit. Taking our hands to the back of the neck, and we're just going to do 3. So inhale, lift the heart, stop when the body wants to stop. And then exhale, lift ourselves back up. Inhale, lift the heart, drop the shoulders back. Exhale, lift. Last one here, inhale. And exhale. All right, so we're just going to roll ourselves over to one side. Release the foam roller. This last one here. Very spicy, but it is one of my favorites. So we are going to tackle the rhomboids and the traps. So the traps are a really long muscle and they're layered. The rhomboids and the traps are layered. So we're looking for the space. So shoulder blade, medial border of the shoulder blade, and then the spine. So we're in the thoracic spinal area, and we want to take each ball, one on each side, between that scapula, that shoulder blade, and the spine. Back down on our backs, tucking those tennis balls in. This is where we hold a lot of our stress. This is where we tense up when things start to get a little crazy. If we work at desks a lot, right? If we drive a lot, this is where all of that crap goes. So you're really going to feel it here. Always know that it is okay to be uncomfortable, right? It's learning to breathe and stay calm through that uncomfortability, if that's even a word, through being uncomfortable. If the sensation gets to be too much, then please remove the tennis balls. But if you can hang in there, I encourage you to do so, because this is a very beautiful, amazing release that you can get in this thoracic spine. Maybe closing the eyes. And again, here you can allow the legs to rest however you want them to. Now, I don't suggest doing a butterfly just because that can be pretty intense, so you can have two intense things going on. However, it's your practice, so you do you. I'm going to keep my knees together. And we'll take about 5 breaths here. Now I am going to leave you guys here as Shavasana. So if you want to finish out your couple of breaths and then be done, you can. Same Shavasana as long as you need to. I do encourage you, however, though, once you get up from this, take a little shoulder stretch side to side, roll the shoulders around in a circle, and then just notice and feel the space that you created by doing this MFR and how that helps to relieve that back pain. I'll see you guys next week.